Welcome to another episode of the iConis podcast. Go by the name of DJ Rod C. But let's stop. Let's just do the proper. What we're talking about today. I wanted to let you know we're talking about the justice machine. Justice machine. What is that? It's a machine of justice. Yes. Who they are? There are many of them. We'll find out. Barry, I think I'll let them know. Let them know who we're talking about. Let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is the iConis podcast. As you know, this is Barry 3D. On my side is the one and only.
Rod C.
And on the man below on the screen is the one and only.
Larry Reclusado.
That's right. And this is the iConis podcast. So today we're going to jump into a couple of things. Before we get into that, we're going to do our round table. So one, remember, like, subscribe, and share. Don't let the show be a secret. That's first and foremost. Second of all, you can find me at barry3d.com. Very simple. Rod, where can we find you real quick?
You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. Find me there. Everything is linked up from there.
Excellent. And our brother from another mother, Larry Reclusado, where can they find you?
Right on the page for the forgotten, obscure, and underrated comic characters on Facebook.
Beautiful. Excellent. Now, on top of that, if you want to get a template like the one we have, you got to reach out to the one who does all our digital graphics, and that is the one and only Mr. Jason Reese, aka
J Bird Digital Art.
J Bird Digital Art. You let him know that you want a template or anything along those lines. You give the iConis podcast name while you reach out to him, and he will give you a discount on the work. Okay. So we got to do this. And we got that covered. I think we've got all covered. And then, of course, my buddies there from IDW Wrestling, look them up. I was working with them. They're out in Kitchener, usually in Brantford. They do a lot of great shows. It's about every couple of months. Keep in line, keep up with their events. Can't miss it. All right. And today, we are talking about the one and only Justice Machine, or the Justice Machine. And this is what we had to bring on Larry. Larry, I'll say this. I started going back to read some of the older issues, and from the comical run, that is. I know you'll get into all, and I just had to say, holy crap, I was going down the rabbit hole. I almost forgot. I'm glad this is why we do this podcast, to bring enlightenment to the masses. All right, Larry, let's take it away. Educate us on these underrated, obscure, and forgotten heroes. Huh?
Yeah, these characters were. Justice Machine was created by Mike Gustovich in 1981. This is another title that had many publishers. Today we'll cover a few of those, who the Justice Machine are, who held the publishing rights, how many issues they did, and whether or not we want to see this live or animated. So when we joined the Justice Machine, it is the second or possibly third lineup in its history. There have been at least one, if not more, previous teams, but the version we see is an elite law enforcement force for the planet Geowell. Big take on George Orwell. Planet thought by the machine members to be a utopia. The machine start out chasing a criminal who's an accused terrorist. He pops off to a parallel world, which turns out to be our Earth. And they chase after him. Now, as far as publishers, there are several publishers starting out with Noble Comics. They did 5 issues of Volume 1, and then Texas Comics did the Justice Machine Annual, which actually introduced the Elementals also. All right. That's for Volume 1. Volume 2, that's where Comico comes in. They did 29 issues and 1 annual. And then Innovation Publisher did 7 issues and a one-shot. Then another 7 issues and another one-shot. Didn't last long. Millennium Publications for Volume 4 pop out with 2 issues. Then they kind of changed the name to Millennium Concepts and reprint the first miniseries from Comico, because that became the full line, 29 issues. So it has 4 issues and expanded. Then finally we get Blue Water Productions, and they did 1 original graphic novel. And then the Justice Machine disappears for more than 20 years.
Okay. So, as I said, I didn't catch the very first run they had in Noble Comics, but I caught the comical run, and that's where it came to light and that's why I got a little bit confused, right? Even originally, because it was like Justice Machine and then the Elementals. So I didn't know if it was like, when I saw the covers, if it was like two teams, one team, like, and how it came into the storyline. But when I read it, very interesting. I like the concept of what they were doing, and that book came out, like, we're talking 80s, right? If I'm Right. Okay. So that run is like, 80 Comic Con. Yeah. Okay. So 1986. So that's when it took over in 1986 from May on. And they were doing that run. So I liked the run. I liked what they were doing. I think they were pretty ahead of a lot of things, ahead of the Authority, ahead of Watchmen, ahead of Youngblood, right? Where it's like a team, that's working for the government, so to speak. Now, I know in the comical run, they had their little run in where they were all heroes. They kind of established them all. They established backstories with the main characters. And then, of course, they get framed for a crime they didn't commit. And then, they're trying to, I guess, prove their innocence. But at some points, it didn't seem like they were too worried about it in that run, like the comical run. I mean, they were worried about it. They had the traumas that happened. And then it's almost like they forgot about certain parts of it before they got back to it, but established more. Now, I'll say this. I think it was either issue number 3 or 4. Forgive my memory. They come to our Earth. And when they come over to Earth, they show up at a Comic-Con. And the first person they see is Wolverine. Well, they don't, as a reader, we don't even know they're at a Comic-Con. All you just see is you open up the first page and you see, I'm Wolverine, I'm the best there is. And then one of the guys on there he goes by the Demon, and he's a martial artist, and he wants to be the best there is in physical, hand-to-hand combat. So he pretty much turns around and challenges the Wolverine, but you realize when you see the front of Wolverine, he's got a little bit of a dad bod going on. He's at a Comic-Con, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, are you guys in San Diego? Hello? What? Or San Francisco? So I think that San Diego Comic-Con, they're one of them, and I thought that was hilarious that they brought him in, and for them to blend in. Everyone's like, hey, how'd you guys go do those costumes? Those costumes are so great. And it was walking up to them. It's like, what's with all this attention? Best way to hide out in plain sight. So I like that concept, and the ideas they started with. When I started reading those issues, like I said, I'm talking really the comical run or comical run. There we go. So yeah.
Now, if we go back to the Nobel in Texas, while on Earth, the machine members come to realize their planet's actually a fascist state. Meanwhile, the Joralian authorities activate a second team, very much like the Justice Machine, called the Guardians. So much so that one of the characters, Titan, who can grow very tall, his brother is on the Guardians. And that's when the Justice Machine basically gets accused of the crime they didn't commit, which is a terrorist act. They escape back to our Earth, have various adventures, add a couple of members here and there throughout the Comico run, and they basically find out that Geowell is a future version of Earth.
Oh, that's the plot twist.
Yeah. And
okay,
I'm going to leave the rest of that, and we're going to get into the characters if you wish.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. So we start out with Challenger. Challenger is Jamie Conrad. He's a leader and physically adept, skilled strategist, basically a military version of Batman or Captain America. Very conscientious of his age. He knows he's declining physically. And although Joralians live considerably longer than Terrans, he makes extensive use of gadgets, most of which he invented himself to augment his physical declining abilities. Personally, I would like to see Kurt Russell in that part. He can still do the physical stuff, but he's got the chops for leading a team like that.
Okay, I see that. And the thing is, they make the mention of his age, right? So in the comical run, they turn around and said he's 50. And I thought that was interesting that they actually put a number on that. And, and they say 50 is new, 60 is new, whatever, how they always change it. So seeing that he's older on the team, he's got that persona, and there's more to his story than that. Are we going to touch on that real quick, or you want to?
You've got to basically, you can go into that if you'd like. I would like to leave that for people to pick up if they can pick up the Comico stuff. But there's some other things I'm going to mention when we get into other characters.
Okay, fair enough. So I won't get into it. So yeah, tune in, keep listening. So I'll just say that like a lot of the team members are actually interwoven with each other's histories, and I'll just leave it at that. And when I thought was cool that they actually went that way. So pacing of it, yeah, I think so. So here's my thing, and this might be an easy cast for me, putting around. So for him, I have let's first for the whole team, I want to see it animated. I would love to see live action, but I don't. Here's my fear: to do the Justice Machine live action, it would be great, but because I don't think there's enough, studio won't get it right. So I feel that we'd have a better chance to have it animated than to have it live action because they're going to cut corners, and it will get something like Dolph Lundgren in The Punisher, where there's no skull on his shirt, it's just a skull on the knife, and that's all he's supposed to be. That's all we're supposed to do. He's a Punisher living in a suit. So
I was looking for like a series like The Boys.
Okay, now that if they do it, that would be great, right? Because yes, it can't be regular studios; it's got to be a streaming service. So I'm with you. I'm still animated because of the themes they talk about in the comic book. It's not for kids. I want it more teen to adult. I think that would suit that genre. And because it's not so known, I think more people would kind of jump in to say, "Oh, what's the Justice Machine?" Is it? And then you have to really explain who they are, who they're not a part of, because it has nothing to do with the Justice League, right? And then let that story develop as it is. So,
I could see it.
Yeah,
I could see it either way, and I think my casting, as voice casting, is going to be just. I'd still say mostly the same people.
Right. Not taken away. So that's who I'm going. So I won't say my casting until the end because my casting is going to be a very casting with my animated idea, and I can explain that at the end. So it's going to make sense. So there you go.
Right. Now
so
our next character.
Hold on. What about you, Rod?
Rod?
Oh yeah. Listen, for right now, I will say what you're talking about anime. You're right because the content is very adult driven, or like Larry's saying, like The Boys. It has to be something that's streaming. I was gonna go with the Challenger. I was gonna go with someone. I was gonna go with Joshua. Oh, I did it. I had it in the top of my head, and I just Joshua Jackson. I always do that. If you know him from the latest stuff, would have been like Doctor Odyssey, but also in regards to the Karate Kid Legends, he was the older gentleman who basically had to kind of like retune himself to get back into fighting shape, for a particular fight. And Joshua was an older gentleman. He's older, so he's like in his late 40s, early 50s. So he's already in that kind of mind frame, body frame. Everybody knows him from earlier, shows he's done in earlier his career. So having someone who's like that, I would say Joshua Jackson would be an ideal fit just to go into that realm. Now, if we're going to go anime, I would say still have him, but do what they normally do. Try to mimic or have the drawing, the animation looking similar to the person. So I would say still have Joshua as Challenger, but have him drawn out that particular way. Now you're given the easier context to do all the effects and all the type of action that you want to be done. It can save on studio to go that route. And I've said that before. Same like Barry. I've said that before for certain comics, certain things that they're trying to put through. It may actually be better to come out as an animated version.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I like it.
All right. Next character, Blazer. Initially thought to be the daughter of Lightwave and Flame, previous members of the Justice Machine. Later revealed that she's actually the illegitimate daughter of Challenger. Experiments were performed on her in the womb, gave her greater powers than her mother, which are basically flame and heat based. She has to wear a protective suit to prevent her thermal powers from overloading, causing a fire cataclysm. And later, a Terran scientist from New Atlantis implants devices in her nervous system that allow her to exert more control over her powers. Person I'd like to see play this is Jayma Mays from Glee. She played a character called Emma Pillsbury.
Okay. And Blaze, and that's another interesting character because they kind of swapped her story to being one, and then illegitimate, daughter of our main person. And then if we even talk about her mom a little bit, obviously we know very early on that her mom is like in issue 1. They talk about in the comical. They show her mom in a home, right? So you're not
Yep.
sure if she's going through Alzheimer's, dementia. So I thought that was really a nice layer they're adding on to this character for her. And of course, it plays out even bigger as time goes on. But to know that these characters all have ties outside of their superhero government jobs, and they have like connections to non-powered people, I think that helps keeps the series grounded too. And that would add a lot more to the writing. So, okay, yeah, I said I'm saving my casting for the end because I got my cast all, and it makes sense. So I don't know, Rod, did you have someone to play Blaze?
I did, and
okay.
I would like to. I would like to say I want to go with Jenna Ortega. I know I've cast her for something else before, but Jenna already has that type of. She can do the dark type of individual, light type of individual, and we need someone who's a little complex at this particular moment in time. You see, having the thermal power that she has and everything, like how is she dealing with stuff like that? So that having how to portray that inner turmoil. Jenna, she does that when she's in Wednesday. She didn't when she was in where is that other Beetlejuice. Well, Beetlejuice is Beetlejuice, Wednesday. So I want to have her in there because she can at least do the darker side kind of scenario. Yeah. So that's how I want to perceive her as that, because again, it's like you said, she's an illegitimate child from one to the next person. Flame, a member of the early version of the Machines, but later revealed to be actual, Challenger's daughter. So I wanted to go because of the thermal power overloading and stuff like that. For someone to have that type of internal power to kind of sustain and keep themselves in check, someone has to be like always just focusing, brooding, looking like like I got a lot of stuff on my mind. Don't bother me type of scenario. Who can be able to portray that? I think Jenna might be able to do that.
Okay. All right. Who down? I like this. Okay, I see where you guys are going. All right, cool.
All right. Next character is Titan, known as Jim Ost. He's a mutant male able to increase his height and mass, a maximum of 30 feet. Very complex character, a lot of depression, a lot of, kind of imposter syndrome going on with him. And personally, I like to see Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things play Jonathan Byers, the older brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Die with laughter. Going to die with laughter.
Oh shoot.
Okay.
No.
So I like him, and I like this character too because one, he's supposed to be the best friend of the main character, right? He's seen almost second in command. How they looked at him at first. I mean, these are just like the cliff notes I kind of saw when I was reading that run, and they're kind of bringing people up to speed with the once again the comical run. So I like how they portrayed him. I like the fact of how I can understand why he goes through his depression. If you read the comic book, you'll see why he goes through his depression. Makes sense. 100% makes sense. And it's interesting that he kind of went more depressed as opposed to rage because of certain situations, right? So, if you got to pick up the book, you'll see what we're talking about and you'll understand why his motivation is there. And he still kind of keeps true to himself. He doesn't let whatever happens around him deal with to reformat his whole persona. So the character himself now, and I said once again, to my ignorance, I'm just going to put it out there: is the character Native American?
They kind of hint at that there's a similar situation to how the Native Americans were put on reservations with the mutants.
Yes.
But that's about it.
Okay. It's just because when I was reading the character and I saw how the character is drawn, I felt that he could, maybe he wasn't, but I also felt that maybe he could have been Native American.
He was they were trying to use him as an analog of.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. That's why I kind of got that feel from his aesthetic. Okay. All right. All right. I'm good with that. And I said, I would like to see Titan because I thought out of a lot of the characters that were there, Titan was the one that really made my kind of eyes open up a little bit more. Like, I mean, I like all the characters, but when you have a team, there's always some characters that kind of speak to you for half a second, depending on what it is. So I like how they're portraying Titan now,
The way
in
I
that run.
looked at it
Okay.
was challengers, of course, the brains of the team, as they say in
Right.
certain things. And like with the X-Men, Jean Grey's the heart, Titan's the heart.
Right. Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%. All right, cuz what are you thinking there? You seem to be in deep thought.
Yeah, no, because I was for one, when Larry said Stranger Things, I'm like, here we go. You're getting that close similarity. And it's like, oh, he didn't grab who I was looking at. I was looking at Caleb. I wanted to have Caleb as Titan. So I know that the slight changes there with being Native American and just kind of like if we went with here's the reason why. I wanted to have someone who was, if he grows up in mass and everything like that, I want to have the actual mindset that someone who may be just very slim and very, agile in that scenario, who grows up, who builds up. You can just change it up, the aesthetics a little bit in animation or even in props and stuff along that line. But a shorter individual who having the ability to grow tall. So instead of having someone who's already your 5'10", your 6'12" type of person going bigger like Apache,
6'12",
Apache, that kind of part. Let me
Yeah,
have
yeah.
someone who's a little bit shorter, but who has the ability, I want to be tall, I want to be big kind of scenario, and we'll just, we ride on that type of illustration that someone who's a little smaller in frame has the ability to.
Like Maul and the Wildcats.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, Rod talking, I was thinking the song there might too short. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
110. Here we go. Here we go.
All right. Okay. All right. We back. All right. All right. Who we got next? Who we got next? I like this.
All right. Well, we're going to go with one of my two favorite characters, and that's Demon. Gable Nevin. Highly trained and very egotistical martial artist, Demon has an on and off again addiction to a Orwellian drug called Edge, which enhances the user's speed, strength, stamina, and ability to ignore pain, but leaves the user virtually helpless when it wears off. And Challenger gets very, very very hard to see his friend going through this, but not able to make him stop. That's one of the best things in the storyline. Right. And of course, you see a lot of things where now, person I was going to cast as that is Charles Melton, played Reggie in Riverdale.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. Because he's got to be a little bit snarky with the attitude. It's definitely dark. You definitely see overcompensate. But all that said, he really is that flipping good.
And I think he could do the drug addiction part very well.
Right. Okay. All right. And I can see it because, and when I saw this character, that I had flashbacks to Karate Kid from the Legion of Superheroes. I'm talking like classic Legion of Superheroes, when it was like Legion of Superheroes, Superboy, where he had the white G with the high collar and the black tights, and they even gave him his own solo run series.
Yeah, back in the Jim Shooter days.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was seeing that, I saw that more so than I saw Iron Fist, right? And the reason why was like Iron Fist is more tied to a location. He's got that particular part of history, where Karate Kid has his own in history just to be a fighter per se, right? He's not trying to defend a planet. He's not trying to defend a realm. So this demon coming in there with his attitude, and of course, dealing with his addiction at the same time and trying to keep that from the team. And the team knows. I mean, they know, and they think, oh, he's clean and sober at some points. Of course, that's going to develop into its own storyline. So, yeah, okay. All right. So I'm surprised because I think a lot more people kind of shift more towards another character. I mean, people like Demon, but personality-wise, he's supposed to be abrasive. He's supposed to be like, in my opinion, that's my take on it. He's supposed to be like how Wolverine was when he first came on. When they came Giant Size X-Men, he came in there. He was good, but he wasn't loved as much as people love this character now. So that's my 2 cents.
Hey.
Rod, looking at you, cuz.
Yeah, look at me, I got something. Like, I'll tell you right now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I had someone in mind, and
Okay.
I'll say who I had in mind, but then I realized we're in Marvel. This person's in Marvel. So
Mm.
I was gonna go with Jane McAvoy because forget for the moment of Professor X, but I wanted to take the character from Glass.
Beast.
So right, Beast, because Demon Beast. So I was gonna go along that line. I'm like, okay, that'd be great. But then wait, Professor's he's already there. No problem. Depending if you want to use Patrick or James, but we're gonna say James is already in the Marvel universe.
Right.
Then I just
Right.
thought of someone else, and I realizing would it be interesting if this particular person was to take this type of dark character? I'm saying for Daniel Radcliffe. Now,
Mm.
as you say, Demon is known to be, you got to be abrasive and stuff along that line. What better than to have everyone's favorite Harry Potter be the complete opposite end? But in reality, during that series, there are times you've seen that when Harry was older, he was abrasive. He was frustrated, and he had the ability to snap.
Yeah.
He had the ability to snap on people type of scenario. So again, Daniel can definitely pull from those particular pages and just utilize that. But now as a more darker content, I believe he'll be able to have that type of mindset to be abrasive. Like you're saying, he's known to be having addiction and everything like that, and trying to come out of it. So again, have a person who has they're trying to work on their emotion, work on their stability, just to be as as healthy as possible. But one minor setback can just turn them around. And I just think you just want that person who looks like you said, he looks like he's good, looks like he's clean, and then all of a sudden I think Daniel might be a good attempt to give that a try. You know what I mean?
I
Okay.
can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like that. I like that. And I mean, I've seen other stuff that Daniel Radcliffe has done where
Yeah.
it's completely a 180 from Harry Potter,
Right.
right? And he's done that on purpose. So yeah, he's got the chops, as I
Yeah.
like to say. Cool. All right. So where are we going next with this journey, Larry?
All right, now we're going to go to Diviner, Tessa Malong, a Conrad, Challenger's ex-wife, but not Blazer's mother. She basically has the ability to use all of her senses at a enhanced level. She has a special bodysuit that she wears to not only help her control them, but also to lift them to a paranormal level. So she can sense things from everything. Um, if there's a change in the electromagnetic spectrums, she feels it.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
I got a feeling.
Yep. The suit also allows her to interface with electronics and digital technology. Person I actually would like to see play this is Heather Graham.
Whoa. Wow. 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 Yeah. 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 She's been quiet for a while, but I mean, everyone. Okay, yes, Boogie Nights, Roller Girl, we got it. But there's other roles that she's done that. Yeah, yeah, I could see her playing that role. Absolutely. Especially with the her and Challenger and that history, right? Like, I mean, you're there with your ex-husband. You've got your family, and then of course there's reason why he's the ex-husband. It's not because of him
Blazer.
stepping out of the marriage. It's another issue right there, which if they explore it well and deal with that family trauma, it really I could see that the creator was really trying to humanize this superhero element, in my opinion, with this whole team, right? It wasn't about the fantastic powers they do. It wasn't on the missions they went on. It was really, hey, it was almost like Spider-Man Peter Parker, right? You could do all these fantastic things, but hey, you still got to deal with work. You still got to deal with relationships. You still got to deal with life and late bills and all that. And how do you handle that now, having that extra responsibility? So I know they start off as government agents, and there's weaves and zigs and zags, and you know. But Heather Graham, yeah, I can see that. Okay, and this, as I said, this team needs a big spotlight shone on them. So there we go. So Rod, I see you. And once again, the gray matter is burning there, Rod.
Burning. So realizing I'm gonna have Joshua Jackson as my challenger, right?
Okay.
I need someone to keep up with him, who can, be someone who can be not a thorn in his side, but who just keep him on his toes, because they're basically like equals in that regard. So I would go with Emily Blunt because Emily Blunt. No, there's two reasons why. For when she was in, oh Lord, again, The Edge of Tomorrow. I don't know why I was gonna.
Oh yeah.
I want to say the word. I know tomorrow, Edge of Tomorrow. So Edge of Tomorrow, seeing how serious and blunt she was in regards to Tom Cruise. Again, she can square off with Tom. She can square off with Joshua. You know what I mean? She can hold her own, and she basically giving the type of pushback, yin for yang. You do this, I do that type of scenario. Then having the soft kind of side in that regard, I want to go with the Adjustment Bureau. When again, she was against Matt Damon. I was just saying that I just want to have someone who has who can believe have a good chemistry with Joshua, and I would think that she would be good because again, she has the chops, as we say, she has the range to be able to give that type of powerful type of presence. Saying her powers is that she can sense the electromagnetism of the earth and so forth. She can feel something. So coming from that type of from her army / soldier type of environment in Edge of Tomorrow, she'll be great there. Then to be the wife of, we'll pull that from the Adjustment Bureau.
Okay, all right. Woo, man, you on fire, cuz.
Yeah,
Larry, you're burning it up. Okay, so who do we have next here? Who do we have next here on the team, Larry?
All right, we have a final member that we're going to cover.
Okay.
Because that's the main team when you start.
Yep.
You're not going to get into the other guys. And this is my favorite character personally.
Okay.
Talisman.
All right.
Talisman is a mutant with the power of karma. Good things happen to him, and by extension, his teammates. Bad things happen to his foes, as long as his cause is righteous. He's also a bit of a career criminal, fraudster, and a inherent gambler. Due to some unrevealed trauma, he goes through his life, but he redeems himself later and actually becomes a clergyman. A person I'd like to see play this, I think, plays a very good villain, a very good, almost humorous James Bond type, Luke Evans.
I love that actor, Luke Evans.
Dracula Untold.
Yep. He was in the Fast and Furious series where he played Jason Statham's brother.
Yep.
From that, the whole Shaw family. So right, he was the one driving that almost modified looking race car. If you remember, I can't remember which Fast and Furious it was. There's so many, but he played that brother. And then Jason Statham showed up the next film after.
Yeah, and it was an Adam Sandler
okay.
mystery.
Right.
Yes. He does a lot of period pieces too. He did the Musketeers movie. Luke Evans is like right on. Well done, sir. And I say, and I like a lot of people do like this character. I'm sure that's the character you saved the best for last in your mind there, Larry. And yes, the cover of the gambling, the cover, the whole journey, how he starts off as a con man and turns into a clergyman. You're a hero on a team. That's an interesting arc to see. So those are all the moving pieces there with that. So I know I'm going to still come to my conclusion here real quick. Not conclusion, but my deep, and you'll see why. Rod, do you have an idea for?
I'm still pondering on that one. I'm pondering through like one or three people, but you'll go. I'll say it at the end after you. Then, if you're now going to do your package, if you're going to do your,
I'm going to do mine, and it's all together, and it's very simple. So because it's a team dynamic, you need actors. And I know a lot of actors can get on set and they work well together. But if you already have that established chemistry, my logic is why break it? So first and foremost, I want to see this animated, like I mentioned before, because I think with the animation, we can get the richness of the worlds, the fight scenes, the background, right? You don't have to build a set. It's easier to draw a 30-story building that hovers, for example, because it's in the future, as opposed to trying to use CGI and then have people complaining about that altogether. Okay. There's different art styles that are out there that I like. So what I'm going to go back is there's one particular cartoon that I like a lot. It caught me off guard when it first came out, but I'm always open-minded. So it is a Marvel cartoon. You can find it right now on Disney Plus. I mean, I'm no sponsorship. I'm just giving you my opinion. And that is Earth's Mightiest Heroes, right? The Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So that cartoon, that art style, I like. Now, when you look at it at first, you might say, oh, this is geared towards kids. But as adults and comic book fans, there is a lot of deep cuts in there where they drop a lot of Easter eggs through that series. And it gives a good story beginning to end. It wraps it up. So why am I focusing on this? One, I like the art style. Two, I like how they did the little introductions, of little mini episodes before the series launched, and then they put it together as one episode. Then the studio understands how to do team building, and they respect the source material. They didn't try to change anything. They took those storylines and they made it cohesive for everyone across the board. So that being said, I'm going to take that cast from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I want them to be the Justice Machine. That's where I'm going with. So if it ain't broke, why fix it? So, for example, I'm looking at Brian Bloom, and he's the one who does the voice of Captain America in that series. So let him be Challenger. I'm good there. If I'm looking at, for example, the Demon, right? I would look at the one, what's his name, Fred, and we've talked about him before, and I know I'm going to mess up his last name, so please forgive me. So it's Fred Tasticore. Fred Tasticore. There we go. He plays the voice of the Hulk. To show you how popular he is, when you had Hulk versus Wolverine and Hulk versus Thor, this actor was the one who played Hulk. Let him be the Demon, because he already stands the moving, the fighting, and in that series, Hulk does have full dialogue, not just Hulk smash. So let him be the fighter of that team. If I have to go into, for example, Talisman, then I'm looking at Wally Wingert. And in that cartoon, he played Dr. Henry Pym. Little unhinged. That's Ant-Man. That was Yellow Jacket. That, you've got some moments going there for him, right? And then if I were to look at, for example, Talisman. So if I'm looking at Talisman, the actor that I'm looking at to play this character would be interesting. So it would be I would look at Rick D. Weiserman. So he's the voice of Thor. All right, I'm glad you're all with me so far. Very simple. Yeah. Jennifer Hale, she played the voice of Carol Danvers. I would make her be what was the Divinity? Diviner. Sorry, Diviner. So I'd have her be Diviner. And then very, very simple, I would go with the last actress here. And she doesn't have like a poem. I'm trying to find her. There it is. Sorry. And then for Blaze, I would go with Colleen O'Shea. I think that's her full name, or not. Yep. She played Janet Van Dyne, so she played the Wasp in that series.
Yeah.
So that's my casting with that same studio, change the art style, maybe not as bright on certain points, right? Because the art style, I'm not saying it has to be grim and dark, because it's not grim and dark, the Justice Machine, but some parts maybe borrow the aesthetics from maybe Batman Beyond, for example. Same style, but the backgrounds just, because it's supposed to be a fascist future that they're coming from. And then when they come back to, let's say, our universe, right? Then, of course, you can make it bright. So that's how you make the difference between where they're at in the future or present day. So that's what I'm going with Justice Machine. And it said it doesn't have to be on a Saturday morning cartoon, because we want to get that kind of level of storytelling that's going to have to deal with a more teen to adult themes. But you give me a streaming service and put it out there, why not? Invincible was on Amazon, and we see how violent that can get. So there we go. That's my casting in a nutshell.
I can see it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I see what you're doing there. Like you said, if it's not broke, they already work together and everything like that. So it makes an easier transition to say, okay, you guys now represent these new characters. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. Talk among yourselves.
Right, okay, exactly. And it's a team thing. But then, for these actors, it's like, hey, guys, you're taking source material. Guess what? You can now stretch those acting muscles a little bit more, because each character has a little bit of a gray zone to them that you're going to have to convey to the audience and still make them likable. So there we go. That's my 2 cents. All right, there we go.
Okay. Nice.
Can we figure out what those 3 actors you were going to pick?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to knock it down. Like, it was just I was trying to see, do I want to go completely left with a change with changing the character itself? I'm changing, like, the race and along that line. So I was thinking with Rajan Page from the the Bridgerton, also from on Dungeon and Dragon.
Right, so play the Paladin, yes.
Right. So that's where my mind was thinking along that line. And then I just said, you know what? I will go with because I thought of this guy and I said, don't want to recast him again. But I just did with who did I just said earlier? That I did with Jenny Ortez. I recast her from something else beforehand. So I wanted to do this one was be Taron Egerton.
Oh.
So this is where I was going to debate, and I think I will just go with Taron Egerton. I will have him as that, because having the
I can see it, because him as Iggsy in right
in the Kingsman. Yes,
he goes through a journey.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. So because of Dragon, on Dungeon and Dragon for Rajan, I was like thinking yes, but Iggy he went through a journey. Luck was on his side. He didn't realize, but luck was on his side. But luck was on his side for him to get from where he was to the end, to be a Kingsman in that regard. So yeah, this is where I was thinking with that.
That is so true. Okay, all right, awesome. Well, I liked all the casting. You guys pulled out some doozies out of that one. Okay, well done, Larry. Well done, Rod. All right, touche. Any last words before we wrap this episode up, gentlemen?
Hey, as I always say, keep reading, keep writing, keep drawing. Maybe you might be a creator soon.
Nice.
And ring that bell so you don't miss any of our episodes.
Absolutely. On that note, everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is the iConis podcast. This is Barry, along with my cousin Rod, along with brother Larry. And remember, this whole world was started by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. We're out.